Hi, everyone, and welcome to Living Hypnotically, where we explore the application and benefit of hypnosis with professional hypnotists. I'm Erica Flint, your host, a professional hypnotherapy instructor and board certified hypnotist, and today I'm thrilled to welcome Tommy Flick, a licensed marriage and family therapist who's been practicing in Spokane, Washington for over a decade. He took our class earlier this year, our certification course earlier this year. And Tommy brings a wealth of clinical experience working with teens and adults on trauma, anxiety, and relationship issues. And he's particularly known for his work with EMDR. So, welcome, Tommy. Great to have you here today.
Learn hypnosis from you originally, being able to take it and immediately apply it and not have that kind of circular fear or doubt going on about, oh, how am I going to make this work? And then this adds to that and really is a great supplement to that system. It's like there's so many ways that it's really surprised me and in being able to allow my own growth to come forward. Things that relationship issues that I had with my father when he was alive and his death and everything. I really felt like I've forgiven him on many levels before, and has helped me to realize that there's more to forgive there and that I'm able to do it, which is so cool. It's interesting because all of my formal training over the years through quote unquote professional psychology and cognitive behavioral therapy, a lot of it falls on the therapist to decide. And it makes absolutely no sense that way. It's like,
Right.
obviously your client is deciding for you for what they want to do, where they want to go. So when they
Right.
come in the door with any type of confusion, being able to sort through that, because ultimately at some level there's no confusion. So then all of a sudden the brain goes, ah, this is what I need, this is what I know I need, this is what I want. And then I can just be a conduit to help them achieve that. It makes it so natural.
I see kind of two, what I call right now, pipeline issues. And one is the overachiever. And the overachiever is very good at what they do. These are our clients, right? And they're coming, a lot of them can't believe that they need to be here because they've dialed everything else in their life. But these folks tend to be overwhelmed with chaos because they are quite smart. And so there's a lot going on. They can't see their mountaintop. They are like stuck at a certain level of elevation where it's just complete fog above
Yeah.
them. And if you do a session with them just to give them clarity, that right there, those people don't even need anything. So those people, you give them the mountaintop, they're going to go out that week and like hit 5 home runs and come back and say that. Then we have the other folks where they can see the mountaintop clearly. These are our weight loss clients. They know exactly, well, many ways to get there, but they really can't do it consistently, right? So they cannot get going. They cannot get traction. So we need to help them remove the blockers. There's something that keeps stopping them from making normal progress forward, right? And so when we're able to help clients remove the blockers, that is skill, right? Have you noticed that with your clients that
Uh,
we're not just doing hypnosis with someone and like removing limiting beliefs, and we're not just doing that, we are offering the opportunity for them to gain skill in nervous system regulation, emotional intelligence. What else do you see?
Well, I'm seeing a client right now. She's such a smart person. She came to me right before I actually came and saw you, and you trained
Mm-hmm.
me. So interestingly, she came to me for EMDR, and we did EMDR successfully together.
Yeah.
And it's a successful protocol. It removed a lot of her trauma, but I didn't quite know where else to go. And so she kind of needed just general support. Person that lives here in Spokane and is married and was very unfulfilled in her marriage. And there was a very high functioning person, very high achieving person, but very cognitive, wanting, I'm going to think my way through this. And so it's the whole, is it my husband in her case, or is it me? And how do we think our way through this? Or what do I need to solve? And being able to work with her was amazing, because being able to let her go back and recognize patterns in her history where she all of a sudden was 5, 6 years old and responsible in her mind, of her family's happiness, and feeling high. There's a family of high criticism. The family of origin was just there's the high performers, but very high levels of criticism in the family system. And so it was like an epiphany for her to make that conscious of, wow, these are ways that I'm reenacting this with my husband, and he's reenacting it with me. And there's the movies that we play, as you
Wow.
know, in our brains. And so for her to do that by way of 5 path, and now she actually does 7 path hypnosis with me too, which is wonderful. It's like transcendental for her.
Wow. That's
So
fantastic.
being able to recognize she no longer can solve it for him, solves it for herself, and then the
Oh,
environment is naturally healed, right? Like the
yeah.
marriage is so much better today than it was a few months ago because she's healed herself.
And that cognitive, right? We need that conscious buy-in, right? So a lot of the work we do, and a lot of hypnotists and a lot of people think what we're doing is emotional, or we're getting rid of bad energy or like negative energy or things like that. But ultimately, yes, that's part of it. Yes, we have to kind of work through some of those emotions that might become stuck for
Sure.
whatever reason we might call trauma or whatever. Ultimately, the conscious mind can see these patterns, and this is aha moments for our clients where everything kind of comes into play. And for your client, when she could now pattern match and recognize this, now the thinking mind, the conscious mind, is like, oh my gosh, I see this now. The conscious mind in its limitation isn't really able to notice that quite effectively.
Yes.
Good for her. I have a client like that too. She's so smart. And
Yeah.
in hypnosis, she's like making these connections, and I'm kind of like keeping up with her, so to speak. I mean, she's so
Oh,
brilliant, and
oh,
I'm actually able to kind of guide her because
yeah.
now you have two minds, you have two hearts focusing on one thing. What's best for the client?
In our work, she's really been able to discover, I call it actually rational, right? Before we thought we were kind of being this rational person and cognitive, really thinking it through. Now
Right.
is able to clear herself of all that erroneous programming
Oh
from
my
before. And so
gosh.
now her rational mind is actually rational, right? There's a
Practically
criticism.
rational.
I heard somebody recently say on a podcast, "Oh, hypnosis, I'm not sure about hypnosis. It feels like hocus pocus." It's like the guy's response was perfect. He's like, "No, it's hocus focus." It's able to actually get your brain focused in ways that are no longer harming you or
That's
getting in
right.
your own way. It's
That's right.
helping you be focused in rational, linear ways towards something that is really helpful.
Right.
That's
If you know it's killing you, is it
right.
rational to go back to your boyfriend every time when
Right.
he speaks to you like that? None of those things
Yes.
are rational, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And people think that they're being somehow helpful when they're judging themselves or being self-critical. And that's erroneous programming. Somebody somewhere meant well, but
Hmm.
somehow that brain learned that in their experience. And then it's replicated just like a movie reel.
Tell me what happened.
Yeah, I just was through the drive-through and got a small coffee on the way to work this morning. And when I got to work, I noticed there was this kind of warm drip in my lap. And I looked down and was like, oh, well, that's a good luck drip. Here.
Reframed it and made it a positive thing immediately before any part of your being had time to have a freak out or get
No,
irritated or assume, oh, why does this always happen to me?
exactly. It was so cool and fun attached to it too, was that I recognized consciously it was the 7 path practice that I'm still doing, will
Yeah.
continue to do. It's like
Yeah.
this is what 7 path gives me. It gives me a process of choice
Yeah.
to not respond in a negative way, to essentially take something that is in some ways neutral. It could be seen as negative, but it's like, no, I'll actually change something that is neutral or negative into a positive form. It's not going to help me if my brain just sits with it in a negative form. I'm going to
Right.
find a way that it's actually most effective for me to move forward with my day. And that was like, well, this is just a drop of luck. Coffee's
That's
a
right.
drop, right? It's
Yeah.
like, it's no problem.
Well, this is why some people seem lucky. I mean, did you know that luck is considered or associated with peripheral vision?
Yeah,
Because,
yes.
right, as people are taking in more of the periphery, which periphery is also, peripheral vision is also associated with the sympathetic, the parasympathetic nervous system, right? And
Yes.
so, like, we're taking more in, and because of that, there's more likelihood for us on the fringes or the periphery to see and notice something, right?
Choice is starting to expand, literally.
And that's the power of hypnosis, really, is the power of the pause and focus, like as you were saying before. But what does it give us? It gives us that ability in the moment to focus on and retain focus on what's the most important to us, which might mean we need to pause.
Yes, exactly.
When you talk about miracles, a miracle in everyday life, And there's lots of miracles, but I would argue that miracles happen when people are present. When they're fully present and they can notice how things are connecting, they can be a part of how that unfolds, right? So the more we're able to fully be there, then we're able to add that level of delight and love to our own life, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Awareness of the breath, the awareness of the now moment. And then the brain has no choice to be present and
Just to be
calm and
present and calm.
relaxed.
That's
Mhm.
right. And
Yeah.
then you don't get knee jerk reactions and you can, you know, neuroscience says we only feel a feeling for 15 seconds. It's expensive for the body to
Yeah.
give us that feeling, right?
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Feeling.
I want to know more about you and what you got you to the place of hypnosis because you have a lot of history helping people
Sure.
with different therapies. You're a marriage and family counselor.
Yeah, marriage and family therapist, LMFT. I graduated UC Irvine back in 2002 with a psychology degree. I ended up, much like you, as I was doing other things throughout life and
Right.
different. I worked in San Francisco as a vessel planner for a maritime shipping company for a couple years.
Uh-huh.
And I was dating a great gal that was involved in psychology. She was getting her doctorate degree at a school in the Bay Area and a very influential person. She was influential for me to be like, yeah, you know what? I'm going to go back and get that degree. And so I ended up going and get my master's at
Good
Santa Clara
job.
University and getting that licensure for the MFT degree. But really kind of classically trained as a cognitive behavioral therapist. And early on, I found EMDR, and EMDR is very successful. That's EMDR is really the bridge that got me to professional hypnosis and being
Yeah.
able to be a hypnotherapist. I see the similarities between
There's a lot.
EMDR and hypnotherapy, helping
Right.
people really get around that block.
Well, I love the story of it, like how the woman noticed it by taking walks, I think, in New York City, and she
Yeah,
kind of like self discovered the technique just because of her own. Do you know the story a little more than I do?
so it's like when you lose your keys. If you ever lose your keys, you're like, where did I leave my keys? Where did I leave my
Yeah.
keys? That she noticed that she was ruminating on something and her eyes were going back and forth and she was wondering in all of her psychological studies and kind of postdoc stuff, like, does this have something to do with how my brain's working? So EMDR in a very small nutshell is activating both hemispheres of the brain so that
Right.
you can actually use more of the brain to solve problems, to recover from traumas, and those types of things.
Right.
Hypnosis is very similar. You're activating more of the brain, so you're able to use more of the brain, help somebody get around that critical factor that says, "Well, no, I can see my friend or my girlfriend or my buddy or whoever doing it, but I can't see
But
myself."
not me.
It's like once you get around that critical factor, the brain goes, "Oh, that's how I'd do that, and that's how I'd heal from that." And oh, that's something that, a family member or somebody, they might have even been very well meaning. Off of the time when I see it in my clientele, it's like our parents and those who raised us were very well meaning, but that's sometimes different than well doing. And so that all of a sudden that the brain is able to see that of, well, they meant well, but I learned something that's not actually most effective to replicate over and over again, right? I say I want this thing in my life, and yet I'm activating this type of thing in my
Right.
life unknowingly until that is made known in the brain, and then the brain recognizes, just like my client I mentioned earlier with her husband. It's like she can't fix the husband. It's not her role to fix the husband, but if she heals herself, then his healing will naturally start taking place as a response to her presence
Allow it. Yeah.
when we allow it.
Beautiful. So you get your license, you start practicing, you come across EMDR, and you're living in Spokane at this point?
I was living in San Francisco at the time, and then in Marin County, just north of San Francisco. Met my lovely wife there and got married there and everything. We only recently moved to Spokane in 2018.
Oh, okay.
And 2025 now, it's like I just met you this last year. Hypnosis is a fairly new practice for me, but found it because I recognize the similarities in how it works with the brain. And so that's where I
Yeah.
really, even though I was very established in many ways in my own practice, I wanted to grow my skill set, grow that toolbox.
Good to keep learning.
Exactly. And it really
Right.
has helped develop. Teaching Seven Path to my clientele has been so fascinating, amazing.
Our clients really need skill. So they need seventh path or some type of self hypnosis, right? Get the book. Start hypnotizing. Get the book and first hypnosis lesson free now at canyoubeahypnotist.com. Because in almost every case with my clients, part of their self hypnosis practice, whether it's listening to a recording, doing self hypnosis, doing seventh path, doing something easy, like that becomes part of what helps them because now they have a daily kind of return to the self, so to speak, right?
Yes.
And the people who don't, or the people who are just wanting to kind of come fix me, or I'll show up for session, but I won't do anything during the week, that's a
Yeah.
problem, right?
My clients are used to me saying the brain is a pattern recognition system.
Yeah,
It's like, what is the pattern? If you're not getting the outcome results that you want, what is the pattern that you're using? Oftentimes, people, if they're not doing some type of professional therapy, they're working in their own pattern, trying to change something by doing the same thing they did the day before and
right,
expecting that cause and effect to be different. It's like, no, the effect is going to be the same if the cause is the same.
right,
So being able to help people recognize that so they say, oh, obviously, this is where I need to go. And having the seven path, having any type of guide of where my brain can go and where it needs to go, that's the healing process. Because most people, they have their trauma, they have their upbringing, they have whatever they learn. And if it's even neutral, it's like, well, my brain, when I don't know where else to go, I go someplace neutral. Wouldn't it be nice to go someplace really positive? Wouldn't it be nice to go someplace that's really directive and self-aware and self-reassuring? It's like,
right.
yes, that creates a whole different awareness for the psyche.
Well, we're going to sleep every day, hopefully. We'll probably eat
Uh-huh.
and we'll go to the bathroom every day. We probably need some tenderness, wouldn't you
Yes.
say? Like maybe a hug and some closeness, that type of thing. And we probably can agree that we need some exercise for our physical body, right? But we
Yes.
also need to take our brain offline, so to speak, right? We need to have, and doctors say there are two magic pills. One is exercise because it creates the neurochemicals for mood stabilization. They haven't been able to find anywhere else that like BDNF, for example, is
Yes.
generated.
Yes.
And then the other is meditation or hypnosis because we are taking the thinking mind offline for a moment to offer perspective. And we're not talking about sleep. There are some things we need to be conscious of. So a daily practice of hypnosis can be life-saving for people.
Yes, yes. I put myself to sleep each night with seven path
Mm-hmm.
nowadays, right? So that
Yeah,
I get to know that I'm going to be enjoying 8 hours of sleep, thinking of things that are really restful, reassuring to the mind and body. I recuperate instead
right.
of just ruminate. It's a big difference.
Well, and I find that the thing about self hypnosis, and it doesn't really matter how you're accomplishing it, but it can become a go to strategy. And the reason is because it's always available. And we need for our clients to have something that is always available. So whether they're stuck on a plane and the
Mhm.
plane hasn't taken off yet, whether they're in the airport, whether they're in traffic, whatever it is, there's a moment where you can
Yes.
always come back to yourself. And
Yes.
that right there is super powerful, right? Because now the brain always has an escape, always has a way out that there's no price tag associated with. No one can take it away from you. So the more we help our clients gain that level of skill and kind of help them understand that, they become more confident naturally,
Of course, something that you
right?
can utilize to your benefit at any moment.
No one
So,
can take it away from you. Remember how you used to get upset in Costco during Christmas with all of these people and running around? It
yes,
doesn't even bother you. You're at you don't even think about it anymore.
train yourself to go a week early.
Can you tell me about one of your clients? Maybe another hopeful story that would be great
Yeah,
for our
sure. I'd like
listeners.
to be able to tell you about somebody. Oftentimes people will come through the door here and they'll have different types of anxieties. And this person was struggling with anxiety in different ways. So he all of a sudden started creating ideas in his head of where he wanted to go and what he wanted to achieve in his life. This is only 28-year-old young man, right? So it's like he's got a whole life ahead of him, but already a professional, already very successful in many ways, especially for his younger age. It's like he's now creating new ideas of where he wants to go, businesses he wants to create, his lifestyle. I mean, there's literally no fear. If somebody that I meet with weekly here, it's like every time there's no fear, which might
Wow.
be hard for someone to really, what? That has to be. No, that can't be. Like, No, it's let go. There's just nothing there anymore that perturbs him or keeps him blocked from his dreams. And so his brain is able to go right where he wants to go, you know?
That's
So
fantastic.
it's really cool to witness. And the peace that comes from that, combined with that inner awareness. These are the dreams that I have. I think I've always had them, but
Right.
yet fear was blocking me before. So then all of a sudden, you get a person who has extremely high volition and no fear, and it's just a heart of abundance. It's like everything that comes to me is for a good reason. Even when I spill my coffee in my lap, it's not a big deal, right? It's like his brain doesn't hunt that anymore. It doesn't hunt that out. Or when other people might be negative around him, a coworker, this has happened recently. It's like he just recognizes it as, I give a little bit of grace to that coworker.
That's
They're
right.
obviously struggling with something that has nothing to do with me. And if they're going to be rude to me in any given moment, it really has nothing to do with me. He just kind of takes that high road and is able to be like, oh, this is the way through.
It is.
That way it
That's
keeps his
amazing.
brain focused on what he wants to accomplish, and he accomplishes it really quickly. So really cool. I think
That's amazing.
my false belief before I met you and before I started doing hypnosis in my
Hmm.
own practice is that high performers have some level of almost like an anxious drive or like a type A. I think I
Yeah.
was by type A people. And I've become a type A, B type personality, right? If there is a thing. I recognize that the more relaxed I become and the more relaxed I help my clientele become, the higher performing they become, which is just amazing. We all, as human beings, have our dreams and our aspirations. It's not anxiety or some type of I need to light this fire under my own rear, so I go and I'll force myself to do. I'll use the capacity of the will. The will is very powerful in the psyche, but it's not everything. And most people think they have to use this will to push through these blocks, instead of when you remove the block, the brain just naturally wants to go towards everything that it would like to experience, right? So your smile tells it all. It's like it's such truth in that. And
I
so
know.
it's
I'm like, yay.
or it would
Right.
change the world if
Yeah.
everyone could think this way. And if somebody around them is not yet in their process of healing, they
Mm,
let that be, or that they're able to support them in a different way that doesn't have a projection attached to it. Hmm.
exactly. I found that my approach is so gentle.
Hmm. Hmm.
And the gentle, I think, and it's a person, like this is artistic, right? But I really prefer to be super, super gentle and invite my clients to an understanding. That's kind of my approach, if that makes sense, because
Yeah.
people feel safe and then they do it naturally. People feel safe, and any of those walls that come up, they kind of dissipate because I'm not fighting.
Yeah.
I'm not pushing up against any of those. It's always gentle and open. And, when we're doing the actual hypnosis part, not just the pre talk, which I'm still gentle and open there, but just even in hypnosis, because as we're guiding our client into hypnosis, we want them to feel a certain way. And there is an artistic way to carry your client into these states where they feel safe
Yeah.
and you can do good work without hesitation, without interruption. The technique, I find, and the approach is so important.
Yeah,
Um,
it's therapeutic what you're saying too. It's so
yeah,
accurate. Like letting
yeah.
people recognize that their own pace is going to be fast enough for the healing. The healing is going to take place so quickly at their own pace.
There are assets and resources within you that are either dormant or left alone for a while. And now, because we are getting rid of this heavy emotion,
Yeah,
anxiety, fear, whatever, the body gets to experience a return of
yeah,
energy,
sure.
not
Of
blocking or controlling or protecting the self
And there's
from
so
that.
many skill sets that everybody has at their own disposal, but if they've never been taught to use them, the brain
Hmm.
is just like having a toolbox full of tools that no one ever uses. Let's be able to access that and let your brain recognize ways that you can use that healing and that growth, all of it, for their own benefit. People
Right.
people get really happy when they discover that they can reach those things that they've wanted all their lives, right? It's like
Oh,
on
yeah,
their own,
on their
exact,
own.
and very
Yeah.
quickly on their own.
And we've learned so much about the nervous system and actual techniques, practical techniques that actually work to
Yeah.
help people calm down, to help people be rid of a sense of guilt or be rid of, some very, very powerful ways to really help people that might not have been around 50 years ago. Right.
Yes.
Even certain things of anti-anxiety techniques, like our parents and grandparents it might not have even been shared a lot, right? So we've learned a lot how to control the nervous system, emotions, and do you think we should teach some of that in school?
Oh my God. I've had clients tell me you should teach this in school.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I definitely teach it to my boys. Jessica, my
Mm-hmm.
wife and I, I have a three, he'll be 3 on November 5th, but I have a 3-year-old and a 6-year-old, allowing the awareness of calm in our family to be part of our boys, maturation process. Let it be
Yeah.
raised in a state of calm awareness.
Wow.
It's really cool. So, and helping the brain, even, a 6-year-old mind is it's developing at a very fast rate.
Yeah.
Something that happened recently where he was a little there's this event that's going on at his school. He's in kindergarten, and it's kind of like their Halloween event. It just happened recently. And he was nervous about it. Instead of going, oftentimes parents will go, "Oh, honey, you'll be okay," or
Right.
this is going to be fun. It's going to be fun, whatever. And they're kind of, we mean well as parents, but we're projecting, we're talking at our children instead of listening to what is the reason. So really, the analyst mind in me goes on and the hypnotism mind goes on. And I'm like, what is he trying to tell me right now? Well, he's trying to tell me that he's nervous about something. And so I said, well, what is it exactly that's causing this feeling? And you could see he's sitting there on his bed. We're putting him to bed, and it's just he and I in the room at the moment. And he's like, I don't know. I don't know. That was the answer by a 6-year-old, right? And I said, well, interesting. What are you expecting of the next day? And he's like, I don't know. It's like, oh, there's the anxiety. Like there's an anxiety attached to not knowing what's coming next, simply put, right? And it's like, so my simple statement was, well, that's okay to not know. And said, we just have to admit that we don't know. And then you can be present in this moment. Like we're expecting it to be fun, but we don't know what's going to happen yet, which might sound like a strange intervention, but it's real. It's authentic.
Better than trying to just say, it's going to
Sure.
be okay. You're going to have fun. Nobody ever believed that.
Right, right, right. That brain is trying to create fear unknowingly to itself in the
Yeah.
brain. And the parent is saying, no, that's not true. And so it all of a
It's
sudden,
invalidating their feelings.
completely, instead of just sitting with it and say, oh, well, this is new. That's why you're feeling this way. And okay, well, do you think, and I think I said something like, do you think they'd have the carnival or whatever they call it if people didn't enjoy it? And he goes, no, kind of gets,
Right. The
okay,
rational part, right?
yeah, something that I don't know here, but like it will likely be okay for my son on his terms, not on my terms, not on someone else's terms, not on some teacher's terms.
Right. Because you
No.
helped him actually think through it.
Yeah, and it just totally changed the trajectory of the next morning. He was up earlier than he would be usually. He was excited,
Wow.
all those things. Such a low bar nowadays.
Good job.
It's a really great way of living. It's just so. It's
Well,
like,
uncertainty,
you know.
people don't realize how uncertainty really is fear.
Yes.
And they don't realize how much that plays into behavior
Of yes.
and addiction and that type of thing, right? And admitting that you don't like, we can't know some things. And the desire for the conscious mind to know
Yes.
is absurd.
Yes. Yes.
And living from a place where we must have everything perfect, whether it's perfectionism or whatever the client might be thinking, there's a level of what I call maturing that happens in our clients, and clients like this. It's not that they're immature. There might be an aspect that has the old programming. There's a part of you that has the old idea, and it hasn't caught up to our current belief system. So we want to inform that aspect of you that's still running on that old program.
If that old program says I'm powerless or this is just going to be something to endure, that's where the brain will go.
Right.
There's a young lady I was working with this week. She was on her flight. She was on a kind of a cross-country flight, and she was previously, we were discussing this on Tuesday. She was a little nervous about it. We just did some breathing techniques. We put it in through hypnosis, being able
Yeah.
to say, this is where I'm going to go. Not this is where I'm going to go if things go bad. This is
Yeah.
where I'm going to go. I'm
Hmm.
going to get myself comfortable on the plane, and
Yeah.
then this is where I'm going to go. And so the brain is actually excited about the plane ride, right? I mean,
Yeah.
completely different. Everyone that's out there has these different realities. Like, amazing how different everyone's reality can be. And when our brains recognize the ability to shift into a new perspective, that new perspective yields a completely new reality. I have a
That's right.
good buddy of mine that his most favorite thing to do is get on a plane. It's
Yeah.
it's so nice. I get to look at the beautiful sky and the phone's not ringing, and
That's right.
it's like it's private and peace and luxurious to him to be able to sit around and do nothing for a couple hours and read what he wants to read and that kind of thing. Different reality than sitting there strapped with fear, and that's just how that is.
And that's what we're doing in hypnosis a lot of the time. We are creating new neural pathways. And we know that this happens with memory reconsolidation. We know that the brain is creating new pathways. And we also know the brain doesn't know the difference between real and imagined events. So when we're doing hypnosis with people, we're helping them to create the solution they want. And then we help them back that up basically by making that choice, especially the first couple of times, right? We want to help them. And that's where the pause comes in, and it's more cognitive load at the beginning to switch.
Yeah,
But you do that for a little bit, and now the brain knows the new way.
yeah,
It's habitual,
yeah.
right?
Your viewers will likely know exactly what we're talking about here already. But when you say, the brain doesn't know the difference between real and imagined, it's like what we imagine does become our reality.
Right.
If my 6-year-old is going to school and expecting, he's imagining what the day is going to be, excitement, fulfillment, for friends, all these things. That's what the reality is likely going to be. That
Yep.
pattern recognition system that is our brain is going to find that pattern in his morning. And the kid who has not learned that or has learned a different way and can then attend school that morning with anxiety or fear or guilt or blame. So there's so much shame and blame in our society these days. It's
Yeah.
like being able to let go of that. They're going to unknowingly create that in their world, and it's not necessary. Their experience could be so much more than that.
That you caught that with your son and that you're doing this with your clients. You're
Yes.
not just helping your clients for what they came in for, but you're helping, they learn a new skill and they're learning seventh path or something else while they are able to then start having this perspective shift or the opportunity, or what I like to say, ultimately, what we're giving our clients is choice.
Yes.
Choice.
When you give people choice and recognize what the choices are, I've never seen it otherwise. They always make the right choice,
Yeah, that's right.
always choose the right choice.
Our clients really are amazing. And I am really, really proud of you, Tommy. Thank you so much for helping so many people. Can you share with the audience how you like to live hypnotically?
Yeah, well, just being able to open my mind up to new possibilities. I find
Yeah.
it in my marriage. I find it in raising my boys. I find it in serving my clientele. I feel
Mm-hmm.
like, there's so much limit. I always thought of myself, even before, as a goal-directed, kind of successful, feeling at peace with myself type of person. But living
Mm-hmm.
hypnotically has really helped me recognize the further levels of peace and gratitude, appreciation for my life, appreciation for everyone in my life, appreciation for all the work that we do. I have a good friend of mine, and he very smart guy, but he said to me a couple months ago, he's like, "Hey, you're always in a good mood." He's like, "How can you do your work and be in a good mood?" His expectation, this is how thoughts
Yeah.
make reality, right? His expectation is Tommy's trying to help all these people who are anxious or depressed. It must really wear on him.
Right.
And I answered to him at the time, and my answers kind of developed even more nowadays in the time since. But my answer to him at the time was that I see where they're going to go before they see where they're going to go. So there's nothing to worry about what the outcome is
Right.
going to likely be.
You get to hang on to that hope for your client because you know that they're going to get results. And even though they can't see it when they first come to see you, right? They come in face down in a ditch. You get to hold on to that hope. And that is the most important thing for us to do as hypnotists. We have to hang on to that until our client snatches it from us, basically. It's like when you had a teacher when you were growing up who really believed in you
Yes.
and maybe believed in you more than you had ever believed in yourself up to that point. And it's someone outside of your family. It's not your mom or dad who might do that well or not. But, you know, we get to be that teacher. We get to see our client in our mind's eye at their best self. And if we can't do that, if you as a hypnotist are unable to do that, like that's where your inner work, where you need to do your inner work. Because if you can't hold the light for your client in that space through their bad behavior, do you ever get clients with bad behavior?
Well, at times, it's like as I'm listening to you, Erica, it's like my brain goes into that you feel it in someone else, right? So
Mm-hmm.
they can actually feel my faith in them.
Yes.
And I think that is transformative for people, that it's not like, oh, this person is just well trained, or five path hypnosis is proven in this particular way, so they're promoting this system, or EMDR is proven in this particular way, so they're promoting this system. It's beyond that. It's a personal relationship. They feel it in the other person, and they're realizing, wow, this person really believes in me in a way, and I can feel it in them in ways that I don't even know. So there's an answer there that I'm already kind of telecasting to them that they knew. It's like, similar to our previous parts of this
Mm-hmm.
conversation, right? They knew that awareness was there on some deep level of mind, but
Yeah.
it's made conscious by feeling the feeling state between two people and knowing that, no, this is a reality. This is a choice that you can easily, in some ways, make. And the person is just the ultimate relief.
Like, I call this technique stopping the world for your client.
Mhm.
Because when they walk in the door, if you truly are able to stop the world for your client, meaning they are the center of existence while they're
Yeah.
working with you,
Yes.
that people feel it. And now they feel seen, heard, listen, like all of the things that seem to be missing, which validation is a big part of it. We
Yes.
often talk about releasing limiting beliefs, but validating the true ones is often missed. And, you know, our clients walking around with past experiences that nobody ever said that wasn't fair, that never should have happened. And so when we invite our clients into our space and they're about to tell us or reveal to some degree maybe the hardest thing they've ever done because they've been protecting it their whole life, they want to know that it's going to be safe.
Yeah. An interesting statement I've recently heard, not my statement, but a wonderful one that I truly agree with, is that faith and fear, they both similarly require the same thing. They
Hmm.
require belief in the yet to be seen. And so many people have their own programming that, oh, well, of course I can go to fear. Of course, fear
Right.
is rational. Of
That's
course,
rational. Yeah.
answer, it's proven. It's like,
Yeah.
no, you're still believing in the unseen and your brain's expecting that outcome. Faith is the exact, they prove to me, and you'll see, I'll see clients, start smiling about this, even in difficult moments in therapy, because they know what I'm telling them is true. It's like, know you can do what you say you can't do because
Yep.
you do it. You can easily do that with regards to faith, being able to have a faith of this day is going to be a good day, or the outcome of this day is going to be a good day. I haven't seen it yet, but I have a belief in the outcome of this day.
That's beautiful.
Your podcast is going to be great. Our interview today, hopefully, is going to be great. It's like it was
That's
an
right.
expectation that likely you and I both had
Yep.
before we even started the call together, and it's been great. That's the outcome of expectation.
That's right.
Belief in something unseen, yet to be seen.
I find that in the end, the rationality always comes back for our clients. No matter how irrational it seems in the moment, when we do eliminate the limiting beliefs and validate, it's easy for the conscious mind then to see how that happened,
Yes,
right?
yes,
One similar example that I'll use with my clients is like, let's talk about just having one. So, and we don't have to go with alcohol. That one's a little more challenging. We'll just talk about food. I'll just have
yes,
one chip. A lot of smart people will say that.
yes,
And they'll even come to me and they'll say, well, I was going to, just have one, but then of course I ate the whole thing. Almost just like this is just the way it is, of
yeah,
course.
yeah.
And so I will begin the conversation with them. How many times have you said to yourself you'll just have one? And usually it's most of the time, if not all, outside of maybe when they were children and couldn't take more than they wanted, perhaps, right? And then I'll say, well, recently, how many times do you say you'll have one and then actually only have one? Now, this is, of course, where it gets very interesting because, of course, it's never, right? It's usually never or none. And I say, well, okay, so you always promise yourself you're going to have one, but you almost never do. And so, what do we call it when someone promises us something over and over and over and they never follow through? You're lying to yourself, right? I know you're a smart person, but would you ever heat your house in the winter and leave all your windows and doors open? That doesn't seem very smart. So, this is irrational, what you're doing here. Can you agree? And this can make people very irritated, of course, right?
But it's so
Right.
obvious. Now you're helping them tell themselves the truth for once.
And that is one of the steps that I like to use for folks like people who are eating too much or want to lose weight because they have consistently made and broken promises. One of the best techniques I find with folks for weight loss is making and keeping small promises, as small as possible, really. Like, I'm going to have a carrot today instead of candy, or I'm going to walk for 1 minute, 30
Yes.
seconds out the door, 30 seconds back, no matter what. Even end of day you forgot, you're going to do, walk in place, right? Because when you start keeping those promises, now the confidence starts to build. Now you believe you can make a change, and their perception and perspective changes that assist us in every other way.
Yeah. And that empowerment comes immediately. It's like, wow, this is actually an interesting game.
Right.
I can change things. And this is so curious. Like, so many curiosity is a big word in my work with my clientele. It's like, let's get curious about why we do this. And then it just changes the whole frame because it's no
Yeah.
longer I can't, or I'm
Yeah.
not going to be able to do this, or there's fear or whatever. It's like, yeah, this is curious because, what we were talking about yesterday, I was able to successfully do today.
And that is such a brilliant flip. I think it's one of the best go-to strategies for almost any presenting issue that is undesirable. Is, oh, I wonder why. Can we be curious about it? Because now what you're doing is you're not allowing the brain to go down its normal path of complaining or victimhood or stress or anxiety, and you're saying, let's take a look at it. Right now you're actively using more of your brain. It's kind of
Right.
like why naming the feeling lowers the sense of anxiety because we're using part of the brain to name it, right?
Just because it happened yesterday does not mean it needs to be the normal path any longer.
Well, what would you want all of your clients and potential clients to know?
Oh, would just be fascinated about how their brain works and know that there is real hope and hope in a rational that there's
Mm-hmm.
and I knew when I learn new skills, I'll be able to do new things.
That's right.
Simple statement, but it's like, yeah, these are the new skills that I'll be able to learn. And then there's a system for it.
Feels
Right?
good.
My brain is going to know what I can do tomorrow to be successful tomorrow. It's like my brain knows right now what I can do right now to be successful right now and have a great afternoon, help a
Yeah.
bunch of people. It's like, this is great. So then you literally start living the dream. So, what I would tell anybody that is a potential client of yours or a future client of mine is that
Mm-hmm.
yes, the dream does exist and it's actually rational to believe in it.
Yeah.
Just being able to find the tools and the skills that create that bridge to that destination. So it's a very achievable act.
Yes, it is. And neuroscience is backing us up all the time with what we already know in hypnosis. So, for those people out there who really love the science, I like to say you can wait 10 years to have science prove what we are doing now in the hypnosis office, and you have 10 years of relief ahead of the curve, right?
Yeah. Don't wait. Be able to start living your best life now.
That's right. What would you tell people about becoming a hypnotist?
Oh, I think as a therapist and somebody who's been a therapist for a long time and been a student of EMDR for a long time, becoming a hypnotist has just made me a better therapist.
Yeah.
It's helped me learn more about the brain. It's helped me learn more about different avenues of thought and where people come in. I've always had certain systems that I've been taught and they've worked effectively, but understanding hypnosis deepens that awareness. So being able to help them recognize how their brain works. I say to all my clients, I will help you become a student of your own mind, and it proves true every time.
Nice.
And I think Seven Path, really is a contributor to that too, because once you find somebody that is really interested in keeping with Seven Path for a couple days, their brain recognizes the shift that's already happening. It just takes a few hours less, 1 or 2 evenings before going to bed, person's going to recognize this shift. And
Isn't that amazing? I mean, they might not get full 100% relief and have, they're
sure.
not going to wake up with money in their bank account and a brand new car and everything, but they can wake up without a sense of overwhelm. They can wake up natural without an alarm, and they can wake up with hope, and like your whole life can be different. It's all within the power of each individual. And I love that you're pointing out that it doesn't take multiple sessions or multiple weeks or years to feel better. Most of our clients feel better immediately. And then we get to help them continue to feel better and stabilize that feeling of safety and comfort. So that becomes their new normal. And so then
Yes.
they're kind of operating from that kind of higher vibration where the brain isn't automatically going to fear and knee-jerk reactions and is instead automatically flipping it for the good and delight of the brain, right? Because that's what we need. The brain needs to be delighted. And if the
Yeah.
brain is delighted, we tend to feel fulfilled and satisfied. So when we're thinking about how do we do our wellness and self-care, we need to keep that in mind, right? We need to delight the brain every day
Yes. Yeah.
and do all of that, right?
Yeah. It really helps people know what to do too. If I have 1 hour with somebody here professionally, there's 167 hours each week that they're not in this room. It's like what Seven Path teaches, what Recovery Through Five Path teaches, is where my brain will go and where I can go to be able to make the rest of the week, everything that's outside of a professional hypnotist or therapist office, it's going to be a win even outside of the office.
That's
So
right.
helping people recognize that. So then that immediately gets rid of so much of that residual anxiety. I know where I'm going to go, how I'm going to do it, and I know if it becomes difficult at all, I know what the tools are that I'm going to be able to use. It's like that's all you need.
It helps them feel more confident. It removes the hesitation. And so now they're able to get longer stretches of being consistent with whatever it is that's going to help them get the life they want. Right?
Yes.
Because it's too easy to get off track for our clients if they can't be consistent. It's like one day the boss asks this, the next day husband's friends are coming over, and it's like there's no way to like get ahead of yourself.
Yes.
It's
Somebody
really
somewhere is
neat.
going to ask something of you. It's like, have you served yourself appropriately, ethically, morally first?
Yeah,
Are you really ready to offer yourself to somebody else to help them with their problem if your problem has not been rectified yet?
that's right. And it feels
Exactly.
better.
If I was a therapist, to be a better therapist, because it's like my cup is even anything that I don't want there has been emptied to even a greater degree. And then everything that is appreciation and abundance and goal directed thought, everything is just so full that's like I have so much more to give than I even did before, which is so cool.
Thank you so much for doing all of
Erica,
this.
thank you for your
It's,
training. I really
yeah.
appreciate and honor you. It's like you've been
hmm
a wonderful addition in my training and helping me be a better clinician. So thank you.
Yeah, it's just tremendous. I'm just so grateful that you are out there and other people out there that really, really care and want to do the absolute best, not just to push kind of clients through the system, but to actually help them kind of understand and then grow and gain skill. Ultimately, hypnosis is effortless, and that's kind of what we want. We want the effortlessness that the brain can offer when it's habitual, when it's safe to just go through the flow, right? And so I like to make a lot of suggestions that your body knows how to do this. And, a lot of these things are inherent within you to suggest that there is an ease with which we can transform and transcend.
Yeah, so natural that
Yeah.
way.
Tell everybody how they can find you.
You can find me online at www.flickconnection.com. So flickconnection.com.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thanks everyone today for joining us for Living Hypnotically, where we explore professional hypnosis with professional hypnotists. I'm Erica Flint, professional hypnotherapy instructor, board certified hypnotist, author of Can You Be a Hypnotist? You can grab a copy of that at canyoubeahypnotist.com. You can also grab a copy of Reprogram Your Weight if you want to use and learn how hypnosis can help you eat when you're hungry, lose weight, feel good in your body. You can grab that at reprogramyourweight.com. All right, everyone, thanks for joining us here today. Thanks, Tommy. Thanks for
Thank
all
you,
the great
Erica.
work you're doing in the world. Bye, everyone. Get the book. Start hypnotizing. Get the book and first hypnosis lesson free now at canyoubeahypnotist.com.